The roof flaps are something new in NASCAR Winston Cup racing this year. They are a safety feature. A lot of people have put in a tremendous amount of time in the design and the development of the roof flaps. They were originally scheduled to be run on the tracks at Daytona and Talladega, but since then they've been made mandatory on a lot of the other racetracks because they do work.
There is no more flap over roof flaps. It took just one trip to the track to prove the value of this safety feature. NASCAR came up with the idea, and Jack Roush brought it to life.
Well, you know, we had the interest as a team in trying to keep the cars on the ground so NASCAR wouldn't slow the cars down more. We think the racing needs to be with the cars about as fast as they are, with as much power as they've got, to be able to let the drivers really race and make it exciting for the fans. So whenever Jerry Nelson initially, and then backed up by information coming from GM's wind tunnel, and then finally from Ford's, came up with what the configuration of the air interrupters needed to be across the roof, well, then I got my guys involved, and we made some hinges and some springs and cables and things that would stop the flaps from flying off the car at the same time they would deploy whenever they were needed as the car got sideways. So we kind of invented the mechanism, but we didn't really have anything to do with the original idea of where they needed to be or what they needed to do. That was NASCAR's primarily.
Todd Bodine was an involuntary test pilot when his Factory Stores of America Ford started to take flight in the Daytona 500.
That's probably the single biggest thing NASCAR's done to improve our safety. I praise them. Like you said, I got turned around, the car come up in the air, and when it came up in the air and it got smooth, I was praying. And those flaps came open, the car sat right back down, spun around a little bit, but I didn't flip. You know, that's the main thing, is to keep them on the ground, and we had 3 instances right away at Daytona that proved that they work. You know, Richie Petty and Chuck Bown and myself, so you can't deny that they're effective.
Roof flaps may not have prevented this roll by Rick Mast, but he's convinced they are important equipment.
Man, I tell you, I wasn't sure about that deal. You know, I figured, well, this is no deal like the side windows and all. Everything, I guess, adds a little bit. But anyway, I was watching that ARCA race at Talladega. The Hooters car turned around coming off the second corner, and that thing lifted up, and all of a sudden those flaps flew up, and that thing set right back down. I said, yeah, I'm sold now. You know, because if those flaps hadn't been on that particular car, that thing would have took a heck of a tumble. And I know a lot of other cars in the last couple of races there and Daytona would have.
Originally, the roof flaps were ordered for Daytona and Talladega. Now they are standard equipment for tracks a mile or longer in length.
When the wind comes over the roof of the car, it picks the car up because it's making a vacuum against the roof. When these flaps come up, when the vacuum starts, the flaps come up, and that's like a vortex generator. It doesn't let that air rush over the car in a smooth stream to pick it up. So, and consequently, there's no lift involved, and the car sets back to the ground. And plus, it's kind of like an air brake. You stick something up in the air, it's just slowing it down. And that was one thing that was impressive. Those things came up, and you could feel the car slow down.
I think they're doing real good. You know, I've never really went for a long slide at Daytona or Talladega before. I've been in some horrendous crashes where you hit stuff, but I've never just went for a long slide, and my car slowed down awfully quick and stayed on the ground too, so I'm definitely in favor for them.
Well, folks, my personal opinion is that's one of the greatest safety features that NASCAR has come up with in a long time, the roof.